see in the Big Ten.
Who has the better record, UCLA or Oregon?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to go with UCLA. I think UCLA probably will squeak it out because Oregon not so much.
Okay, yeah, we'll see. Of course,
I like to
you
see Zach Charbonnet run too. He really turned his career around since leaving Michigan, so he'll be an interesting prospect.
Oh yeah. When do you two guys play? Michigan and Michigan State. Do you play
Uh,
this year?
that's a good question. I haven't looked at Michigan's schedule. I'm sure they do. Let's see. Michigan versus Michigan State. That's just too much of a moneymaker to probably pass up. Uh, so they're definitely playing each other October 29th.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's game's coming up pretty soon. Yeah. Always good banter between you and Demetrius.
Demetrius,
Yeah,
yeah, that's gonna be fun.
yeah, and of course our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family, and we hope that he'll be back soon.
Most
Uh,
definitely.
so yeah, Mike, will the Panthers be be a playoff team with a healthy Baker Mayfield at the helm?
That's a good question. They're playing in the South. You would figure Tampa Bay would be, but they're just like onslaught of injuries going on in Tampa Bay. So you're wondering how much can they actually be better? I'm going to say no. I think it's just too early for them to be a playoff team, but I think they will be better with Baker Mayfield.
Uh, how many wins you giving them this year?
I think they're going to go 500, maybe 9-8.
Yeah, you can't go 500. You guys go
That's
9
true.
and 8 or
That's
8 and
true.
9.
That's true. That's true. I forget. That's going to be something I'm going to say as out of habit. I'm going to go 9-8. Yeah, 9-8.
Okay, that's still quite a uptick from last year. So okay, we'll
Yeah,
see here.
that
Yeah,
division. You got Atlanta in there. Who else do you have in there?
you got
Carolina, of course.
yeah
Tampa Bay, and what's the other team?
the Saints.
Saints. Yeah. So the competition isn't too fierce.
No, but you have to I guess you have to take into consideration that the Saints sweep the Bucks every year. So that's
That's true.
so we have to see how that works out. But right now, I'm not even sure who the Saints quarterback is. Are you?
Well, right now it's listed as Jameis Winston, but who knows if he'll have to play like he did when he played last year. If he's not, then I don't even know who the backup. I don't even know who their backup is, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
because this year they didn't list what's his name what's the other kid, the big kid that runs Trey plays
What?
tight end.
Troutman?
Yeah, no. He plays tight end for the Saints. Um,
Oh, are you talking? Oh, the tight end quarterback / wide receiver.
yeah, him.
I've drawn a blank. I know who
Yeah,
exactly you're
yeah,
talking about, though.
yeah. But they had listed him as their third quarterback for a couple seasons, and now
Oh, I think Andy Dalton's there. Andy Dalton's there. So we'll see what kind of Andy Dalton shows up. But it's not a threat, but I don't, we'll see. We'll see.
I mean, Andy's still a good game manager. I mean, you're not expecting
Yes.
him. You're not expecting him to, all of a sudden turn into Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. So
Right.
but just to manage a couple games if he has to get them through it, and then there's always that mystery. Where is Jimmy going to end
Yeah.
up?
They were talking about that earlier today. I think they were talking about that he might just stay on the 49ers.
Yeah, well, I mean, but then again, we said the same thing about Baker up until
Right.
so we'll see.
And then with Baker, it was a mutual decision. Carolina didn't want Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield didn't want to go to Carolina, and guess what happened? He ended up in Carolina.
Yeah, so, you know. ESPN reporter Bill Barnwell says these teams will have an improved record this season. I'll name the teams, and you tell me whether or not you agree and what you think their record is gonna be. The first team that he said is the Bills.
I'm going to say no. They will not have a better record, but they should have a fantastic record. I'm going to say 12-5. I don't think they will. Did they win 12 games last year?
Um,
I would imagine they did, right? Let's see, 20.
That would have made them go
21.
12-4. Did they go 12-4? Or did they go 11 and
But they went
5?
11-6. They went 11-6. So actually, it would be better. So I'm going to go less than 11-6. I'm going to go. No, I'm going to agree. Going every which way but loose. I'm gonna agree with the gentleman and say they go 12-5. And yeah,
Okay, the Broncos.
the Broncos were. What were the Broncos? 7-10. Yes, I agree. I think they'll have a better record. They're going to be 8-9, 9-8. So either way, it'll be a better record than 7-10.
The Jaguars.
God, if the Jaguars don't beat 3-14, like with Trevor Lawrence back there and him looking better and not Urban Meyer to blame all your woes on, I would think it would be almost nearly impossible that they don't win more than 3 games this year. Record wise, I'm going to go 6-11.
The Lions.
Ooh, yes, most definitely the Lions, because I see the Lions actually making the playoffs this year. And the Lions last year went 3-13, just like the Jaguars. But yeah, they'll make. God, that's a hell of a league. Maybe they won't make the playoffs. I will say 9-8 for the Lions. I'm sorry, the Lions.
9-8 won't make the playoffs. I don't.
No, would not. No.
The Ravens.
Ravens. Oh, yuck. I hate the Ravens. Did I ever tell you I hate the Ravens? I hate the Ravens.
There's a reason why I call them the Ratbirds.
Ratbirds. I love it every single time I see it too. They were 8-9 last year. I don't think they go 9-8. I think they're 8-9 this year or less.
Or less. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now he also says that these teams will have will win fewer games this upcoming season. And of course, everybody's picking on my Steelers this year. And Mike's first year going below 500 because it's a 17-game season. I still think that we'll win 10 games. If we start Kenny Pickett soon enough, we might win 11, but we'll see.
Ooh, all right, I like that.
So the Steelers, what do you think are they? Well, it says they're most likely to win fewer games this year. So we'll start with this.
So they're going to lose fewer. They're going to lose more games than 9-7, or fewer games than 9-7.
No, they're going to lose more games than they did last year. So
Okay,
last year we went 9-7 last year.
Yeah, 9-7-1.
Yeah.
I think they'll be better. I think they'll go 10-7.
Okay. The Raiders.
Oh, the Raiders. That division is so tough. They were 10-7 last year. I don't think they're going to be any worse. I think they're going to be 11-6 or 12-5.
Okay. The Titans.
The Titans will lose more than 5 games this year. I will say that. I think they're more like a 10-7 team.
The Falcons.
Yeah, let's see. The Falcons were 7-10. They won 7 games last year. That's kind of surprising. I'm going to say they are going to lose less games this year because Matt Ryan is no longer the quarterback. So I'm going to go 5-12.
And do you think he should have included the Bucks in this list?
I do, especially at this point. I don't know when. Do you know when he wrote this list?
Day before yesterday.
Yeah, so he pretty much has been up to date on the things. Yeah, I would definitely agree with you that Bucks should be on this list. They were 13-4 last year. I don't see them only losing 4 games this year.
Yeah, most definitely here. We kind of went over a little bit of this yesterday, and I thought it was kind of funny about some of the answers here. So, which team has the most wins? The Jets or the Giants?
Oh wow. God, can you imagine living in like New York or New Jersey and hey, you can't even like switch season tickets. You can't just go from the Jets to the Giants or because wherever you look, it's just horrible. This is horrible news everywhere. Um, I I'm gonna go Giants this year by 2 games.
Okay, so how many games do the Jets win, and how many games do the Giants win?
Ooh, that's a good question. See, the Giants won 4-13 last year. I think they'll go 6-11, and the Jets were 4-13 last year as well. And I'm so they'll go 4-13 again this year.
The Commanders or the Seahawks?
So the Commanders, they were interesting last year. They were 7-10, but there were some games in there that they probably would have won with Ryan Fitzpatrick. So they were in their defense didn't turn it on until the end of last year, which they were good all through 2020. Um, so the Commanders, I think, are a better team than their record. I'm going to go 9-8, and then the Seahawks, correct?
Yes.
The Seahawks was 7-10. I think they're going to go. Oh God, they're going to go worse. They're going to go 6-11 with Geno Smith or Drew Lock, whoever is their quarterback there. They're not going to win nearly as many games with Russell Wilson. So I'm going to go. I said 6-11. I'm going to go 5-12.
The Bears or the Texans?
Ooh, I like the Bears a little bit. They were 6-11 last year. I could see them winning one more game, making them 7-10. The Texans should improve as well, but they're going to go 6-12. So I'm going to go Bears by 1 game.
You kind of answered half of this question a little while ago, but we'll see how you answered. The Jags or the Lions?
Ooh, the Jags are horrible. They'll win a couple more games, but I'm gonna go with the Lions here. Even though 8-9 won't make the playoffs, I think they'll be that team where they'll be pushing the playoffs like all season long. So 8-9, Detroit.
The Titans or the Packers?
Oh, I think the Packers. Ooh, both of them are not all that great. Packers 13-4. They lose Devontae Adams. That's gonna lose at least 3 games, making them 10-7. And I'm sorry, who was the other team? Packers and who?
Titans.
Titans. 12-5. Yeah, I already said they were. I'm gonna go Packers by a game.
Okay. And close to your heart, the Colts or the 49ers?
Colts unfortunately went 9-8. They should have gone 10-7. I mean, all you have to do is beat the Jaguars, right? A team that was like last place 2 years in a row, the worst team in 2 years in a row. You can't beat the worst team, and it wasn't like it was a meaningless game. No, of course not. It was a game to go to the playoffs, and all you had to do is show up and win. I mean, really, you didn't even have to play 40%. You could have played 60% and won this game, but no, you chose to play 25%. No, sorry, it's just a little jog, a little memory there. I'm going to always go with the Colts, no matter what, no matter how bad they are. Biased, call me biased. It's definitely biased, but yeah, I'm biased wins with me every single time I talk about the Colts.
Well, at least they don't have to play each other this year, so we don't have to worry about
That's
that.
true.
uh,
They won last year, though. They won last year, which means they'll probably lose this year if they played again.
what do you think about? You were talking about the injuries to this to the Bucks. What do you
Yeah.
think about this 49ers lineup?
Yeah, they've had a couple of injuries themselves, I think, right? I
Yeah,
want to say that, but I'm not.
on the back end. Uh, one of the who's still out? Somebody's still out. Uh, Not Elijah Mitchell. One of the backups, I think, is still out.
Trey Sermon? Is it Trey Sermon? Or is it
I think it is
James
Sermon.
Hasty?
I think it's Sermon. I think it's Sermon. The Sermon hasn't been back yet. And didn't one of their safeties get hurt? Was it a safety or a
Probably.
cornerback?
I know
One of them.
they've had some injuries there.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. What was the question?
No, I was asking you, what did you think about the roster that they're going to put out? Of course, Trey was just on TV. When was it? Last night.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
7 for 16.
that's not
Uh,
good.
yeah. So of course, it's a learning process. So when you see Trey on the field, regardless what the coaches are saying, uh, you know, uh, do you think it might be expedient for them to keep Jimmy G?
Yeah, I mean, I think if everything makes sense, right, and they work it out where it's feasible and Trey Lance isn't looking, because the last thing you want is to have Trey Lance looking over his shoulder and wondering, oh, I've had a bad game. Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to come in and take this away from me? And just always constantly worried. You know how like Steve Young, that whole problem with Joe Montana, and when he finally wins the Super Bowl, he says, "Oh, get the monkey off my back." You know that's something that I think Trey Lance could have. Now, if he's just like, if they say, you know what, no matter what happens, you're our quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo is the backup, and we have all the faith in you. Then I think having Jimmy Garoppolo as a backup, it makes a lot of sense.
Well, let's talk about the other backup here, Jordan Love. Now, Jordan Love's performance was even more lackluster than Trey's. What
Yes.
do you think? I mean, ha- ha- what has Jordan Love shown you in his 3 years in the league?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, but of course, Aaron Rodgers is there, and he's not going to find anything until Aaron Rodgers vacates the building. But I
Well, I
did
mean,
see,
the one thing you had, Jordan Love is in the same position that Aaron Rodgers was with Brett Favre,
correct.
and Aaron Rodgers is probably even holding on to it tighter than Brett did, at
Yeah,
least for this last year. Now, what happens after this year, we don't know, but you know, I mean, I don't know if Jordan Love is a suitable backup for Aaron Rodgers, let alone the heir apparent.
yeah. At this time, I think you're right. I did see some good things out of Jordan Love, and I saw some really just ugh, things out of Jordan Love. Sometimes he looked like a first round quarterback. Other times he looked like, why did you even draft this guy? Um, so and that's all against weird competition and all that kind of stuff. So he definitely needs work. He's not a starting quarterback at this point. He might not even be a starting quarterback next year. It might be another 3 years before he's a starting quarterback. I don't know what they're going to do with him, but right now Jordan Love um, is one of those quarterbacks that's a backup quarterback that you can feel okay putting in there, and but you don't want him starting at his own 20. Because by the time they get to the opponent's like 25, he's going to throw in an interception. Um, so you're like, okay, you're good as long as we start at the opponent's 35 and have only 35 yards to go instead of 80. So yeah, he's probably one of those backups.
When you think about that Packers defense, we talk about all that they lost on offense with Devontae Adams, but is this a case where the Packers can defense can pick up the slack?
I
I
like
mean,
to
they
see
are.
more.
You're playing the Bears twice. You're playing who else is it? The Bears,
They're
uh,
playing, let's see, definitely the Bears twice. And then they're playing the
Minnesota
Vikings
twice.
twice, and uh, so
Who else is in that
Lions
division?
twice,
Yeah, okay,
Lions twice.
yeah.
So it's not a scary division by any means. Um, I'm just looking at what else they have. They have the Titans, Cowboys, Dolphins,
So they're
Rams.
playing the AFC East and the
Yeah, the AFC East and the NFC East.
yeah. Uh,
So that's not too bad. I mean, you get the NFC East and the AFC East is not what you want, obviously. But I don't think they play the Bills.
if they play the Dolphins and the Patriots, they might play. Well,
I don't see it on here. I could be missing it, but they play the Jets. So I don't know how they escaped that being a playoff team.
yeah, that's okay. I guess we'll see what happens with that, huh?
Yeah,
Uh,
that should be interesting.
yeah. Reports say that the Ratbirds offered Lamar Jackson more money than Kyler Murray. How should Lamar handle this situation without an agent? I mean, we know, there's always, mother knows best, but hey, you know, what do you think here?
I don't even understand why he doesn't have an agent. That's been a question been on my mind for the longest time. I don't I don't know what I mean. It's cool. I respect him, but
Maybe he doesn't want to give up that percentage.
that's fine. That's his money.
Yeah, then better keep it in the family than,
But he also
I
might
don't know
lose.
either, but I'm just saying,
He also might lose because if he doesn't understand, I mean, that's why we have those attorneys. That's why sports agents are attorneys, so they can read over those fine details and understand what's going
well,
on.
well, he would still have to have someone sign off. That's a certified agent, even though his mother can negotiate, but they would still have to have someone sign off that is an attorney, like you said, or somebody that's familiar with that type of law. But she can negotiate as his agent. But when the papers come, when the legal papers come, it has to be someone that's certified.
Does his mother an attorney or what does she do?
No, no. She, like I said, she can be his agent, but she's not certified, so she can't.
Okay,
So she can't sign any legal papers like a certified
like an
agent, but she can negotiate. And then they
okay,
have to have the final certification from the attorney or whoever, whatever legal means they go through.
gotcha. Yeah. So, but no, I think it's interesting. I mean, this is like sort of drama, right? Where a player goes in and says, "Okay, I'm not going to do it this way," and it's a total reversal of ways that we're all accustomed to, and he's just like, "No, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it," and that's admirable. So we'll see how it. I if they offer him Kyle Murray money, I'm gonna be like floored. I'm just gonna be like, these teams don't care. They'll just give it out to whatever average quarterback is out there. I mean, Lamar
Well,
Jackson is a freak of an athlete, but as a quarterback, it just takes a couple injuries and he's RG3.
but see, here's the thing, though. We've kind of talked about this. when you start handing out money like you did with Deshaun, and
Yes.
some of these guaranteed contracts, so I'm thinking, and Bill and I kind of talked about this last night. I'm thinking that right now the stumbling block is how much guaranteed money that the Ravens wanted to give him versus how much guaranteed money his mom or whoever his agent is wants. To, you
Hmm.
know, so I'm thinking this is the holdup. How much guaranteed money? You know, is he looking for a fully guaranteed contract like Deshaun? Is he looking for like you say, Kyler Murray money? I mean, I think it's going to be more about the fine print and the guaranteed money than anything else.
Makes sense. I mean, if I was Lamar Jackson, that's exactly what I would want. Because he's, I don't know. I don't know about him. I really don't. He hasn't shown anything to me as a quarterback, and he's good. He wins games, I guess, if that's, a category for a team sport. But I don't know. He's last time we saw him, he couldn't figure out cover zero. So we'll see how he does this year.
Um, Speaking of Deshaun Watson, 11 games, $5 million fine. Oh, no.
5 million.
I
Oh
mean,
no! Let me find
yeah,
a penny in my wallet.
you know, but 11 games. Do you think, number one, that Jacoby Brissett can hold up for 11 games? And number two, Deshaun hasn't played in what at least 1 year, and then
Yeah.
11 games this year. I mean, you know, it, so he'll be back with 6 games left.
Yep.
How much rust do you think? I mean, can we look at, would 3-3 be an excellent year for Deshaun?
Oh,
Considering
without it. Yeah.
considering his rust, not considering the talent that
Sure.
of course the clown's expecting to go 6-0 when he comes back in, but I mean, he's not even allowed in the facility, so he can't work out with the guys. He can't throw the ball
Right.
to his receivers. So, what do you think? 3-3?
If they're 3-3, I'd be shocked. I really would. As you mentioned, okay, he's only had what, maybe 3 months, 3.5 months working with this team. Um, you,
One
you have,
playoff game. I mean, one preseason game, a couple quarters.
yeah, a couple quarters. That's it. And he looked like,
Yeah.
oh my god, dude. He looked like he hadn't played in a year. Um, and
No pun intended,
no
right?
pun intended there. Not one bit. And he now you're talking about another 11 games where there's no. I would feel better if this was Houston, because he knows Brandon Cooks. He knows these players in Houston because he's played with them. He don't know any of these dudes. He don't know David Bell, this rookie, that where he's gonna stop when he runs his in route, or if he runs an out route, how close he can get, throw to him. And it's just going to be Amari Cooper is new to this. I mean, and these guys are new to the team too. 11 games in. I mean, no, if they're 3-3, yeah, I'll be absolutely shocked.
Yeah. How do you think Jacoby fares?
I think he'll do all right. I think he did okay with Indianapolis, but he's not a starting quarterback. He's a very good backup. I'd take Jacoby Brissett any day of the week as my backup quarterback. But he has his limitations. He's not someone that's going to throw the ball deep. He's not going to, run very often. He's very much a short to intermediate passer, but they don't really need a lot out of him because of that run game and that offensive line. So they're going to run like they normally do, which is a lot. And Jacoby Brissett will be a game manager and hit the short to intermediate routes until Deshaun Watson comes in and they open up that offense for him.
Will the Dolphins' demanding schedule cost Tua his job?
If Tua Tagovailoa doesn't start playing better, absolutely. They put every single piece into this offense for this guy to do what he needs to do to succeed. Um, they bring in Tyreek Hill. If he doesn't win with Tyreek Hill, then you're just like, who are you going to win with? Who are you going to showcase your skills with?
Yeah.
Because you have one of the best
They've
wide
got
receivers
some.
here.
They've got not just Waddle. Hill, but they also got
Waddle.
Waddle. I mean,
Yep.
that they have one of the fastest wide receiving core. That they're
Yep.
kind of like the Chiefs were with with those guys.
Yep.
But the one thing that kind of bothers me is Tua's arm strength.
It's not too bad. It really isn't. They just don't throw deep a lot because they couldn't throw deep a lot. But I think he threw 25 times last year deep, and he connected on to like 22. Um, so whether that's the fact that you don't have to worry about it because he plays, the guy throws deep 25 times in a season, that's like one time a game, a little over one time a game, you're not going to, as a defense, be playing back too often. You're going to be, you're going to move up your free safety and do those kind of things. So there's probably times where whoever it was got behind him, Devontae Parker or whatever, and he aired it up. We'll see how good he is now because they're definitely going to throw deeper more with Tyreek Hill.
Right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Uh, Tyreek is a deeper threat. But then again, you could use him the same way you did in Kansas City, give him that 5 yarder and let him gain another
Yep, let it
35
go.
with his, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So we'll see what the Dolphins come up with as far as scheming. Um, let's see. How much of an impact do you think the injuries of the Cowboys left tackle Tyron Smith will
Oh
have
yeah.
on their season? Because now, I mean, it's like musical chairs on that Cowboys offensive line. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good thing that Dak Prescott is mobile, because you're losing your left tackle. I think this will probably have more effect on Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard than it will with Dak Prescott. But obviously, whenever you use such a player as he is at left tackle, and then he plays left tackle, that's just like a double whammy. And they'll get someone that can hold it up, but it's not going to be to the way that Smith can play and at that level.
do you think Jerry's going to go out and get a free agent, or do you think he's going to try to patch together his boys? Because remember, he drafted all these guys.
Yeah, that's a good. And he loves his boys too. I think it depends on who they have, and like the Colts were in this situation last year, and they had Pinter, and nobody knew Pinter. I didn't even know Pinter, and he came in and he played great, and it was like, oh, okay, well, no, we didn't lose much of anything. In fact, he probably played better. Um, so it depends on who is there. If they don't really have anybody there, it's such a important position at left tackle. I don't think he has any other recourse but to go and look. I think Eric Fisher is still available. Someone like that maybe.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple guys out there that they could go and look after, look at and see. But like you said, it's, Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. I think, as everyone knows, I think this might be Zeke's last year. I don't know if the Cowboys can really afford him next year, especially with the way that his skills seem to be going downhill. So that should be very interesting to see how this affects, like you said, the running game as well as the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the backup? You said Andy was gone. So who's the backup for Dallas now?
Oh, that is a good question. I do not know. It's probably Mike White, but I'm not 100% sure. Let's see. Cowboys upstart. I think it's Mike White, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Let's see. Quarterback Cooper Rush. No, Mike White plays for somebody else. So it's Cooper Rush and then Will Greer and then Ben DiNucci.
Okay, well, I don't think they're going to carry forward, but anyway,
No, they won't carry for.
but we'll see which three it ends up being. Yeah, I had completely forgot that Andy was gone. Um, Bradley Chubb is back after missing 24 games. How crucial is he to the Broncos getting into the AFC West contention?
Who's the name again?
Bradley Chubb, the outside
Oh, Bradley
linebacker.
Chubb. Yes, very very crucial. He is getting long in the tooth, but he just brings excellence. So, whenever you have a Bradley Chubb and you need to take care of that situation, then it's it's huge.
Uh, do you think that the Broncos make the playoffs as a wild card?
I think
Everyone's
it's going
talking
to
about
be.
Russell Wilson. I mean, but I think everybody's taking a step back. The Chiefs are taking a step back. I believe the Broncos, the Raiders are. I think that the Raiders might be the sleeper in this division. But
Yeah, I agree. I agree that they are the sleeper in this division, just because um, no one really takes them serious. The Denver Broncos are probably also a sleeper in it. Everybody's looking at the Chargers and the Chiefs. So I think that it's going to come down to one of those last games of the season, and they win, and then they have to have this team lose. But it's not going to be like once they need to win or it's going to be just one of those multiple situations where they win, this team loses, they're in.
speaking of the Chiefs, what do you think about that wide receiving core this year? They did. Evidently they see something. They doubled Juju Smith-Schuster's signing bonus from
Yes.
30 from what 30,000 to 60,000. I mean, not that's not real big money, but I mean,
Mhm.
but what do you think about that wide receiving core for the Chiefs, considering that they're missing the big threat?
Yeah, it's a lot of just players that can fill that role. Like Marquise Valdez Scantling can fill the deep role for Tyreek Hill. Sky Moore can fill in sort of that intermediate explosive role that Tyreek Hill can do, as we were talking about. Hit him on a 10-yard slant and watch him run. That's something Sky Moore, cross fingers, as a rookie, we don't know, but cross fingers, that's what he was drafted for. Juju Smith-Schuster, short to intermediate guy, that will probably be targeted quite a bit. So those are sort of your key players. McCole Hardman also is there. Josh Gordon is still there for some strange reason, but it's like, well, we're going to miss this with Tyreek Hill, so let's get MVS. Well, we're going to miss this, so let's draft Sky Moore. So it's a lot of different exchangeable parts. So there's going to be multiple players involved in targets, but it's really going to come down to, in my opinion, Juju Smith-Schuster and Travis Kelce as the two main guys.
Okay, and how many yards and touchdowns do you think Juju will get this year?
It's a good question. Not too many. I think maybe eight or nine. He could hit double digits, but I like 8 or 9 from him.
89 touchdowns.
Yeah,
How many yards?
that's probably not going to be as much. I'm going to say, let's say he catches 90 passes, 1,030.
Okay, all right, yeah, just over the 1,000 mark.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk some fantasy football, Mike. That's what your forte. First of all, can you explain the difference between a keeper league and a dynasty league?
Sure. So, keeper league is someone that usually keep one or two players. So we go into the draft. Let's say I draft Najee Harris, and then in the second round I draft Tyreek Hill. Well, in a keeper league, I can keep Najee Harris and Tyreek Hill, but I can't keep any more of those players that I drafted. Um, in a and usually it's only 1 year that you can keep them. So I draft Najee Harris and Tyreek Hill in 2022. I can keep them from 20 to 2023. But after the season ends in 2023, they go back into the pool to be drafted over again. Rules vary, but that's pretty much how it works. As Dynasty goes, who I draft is who I keep, unless I trade them, of course, or release them. But they are on my team until one of those two situations occurs.
Okay. And you can keep them as long as you want. You don't have to, like in the keeper league.
Nope, you keep them as long as your heart contents. There's been players I held on to Marshawn Lynch, even when he wasn't even playing, just because I thought he might come back. And so I went a whole year with Marshawn Lynch on my roster, just in case he came back for playoff season or the next season. And so yeah, you can keep whoever you want for as long as you want.
Huh. Okay. Did you get a chance to look at the draft yesterday for the Sports Crib League?
Yeah, I participated.
Oh, okay. We just didn't see you. Huh? Okay.
Yeah, I just wasn't on the show. I couldn't make the show, but I did participate in the draft.
Yeah. I think I'm going to change up the format next year and have everybody announce who they're picking and maybe give a
That
reason.
would be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that'd be
uh,
really fun.
yeah, this was our first year, so just kind of ironing out the kinks.
Sure.
I wanted the 10-team league. We ended up with an 8, but hey, that's it's more about having fun and
Yep.
the rapport. So,
Hmm.
what did you think about the different teams and evaluate them, including yours? I think I did pretty good with the first pick myself.
Yeah, I was wondering who you were going to go with, and you went with Jonathan Taylor. So that I was like, darn it. I think I was fourth or fifth. I can't exactly remember, but I knew he wasn't going to come to me. But I was just like, you always like hope and pray that a player that ain't going to come down to you comes down to you somehow. But
Well,
I
I think that the cream of the crop to me is either Eckler or Taylor.
yeah, or McCaffrey if McCaffrey plays a full
I,
slate of games.
I just don't trust a healthy McCaffrey.
Really, even if he's healthy.
No, I said I don't trust him. I don't trust him to be healthy for a whole
Oh
season.
yeah, yeah. No, you're not alone there. You're not
Especially,
alone.
I mean, now he's playing more games instead of less. I mean, even though it is only, one more, but can I trust him for more than 8 games?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's a legitimate question. And even
And
the
I
doctors are.
tried that with that with Hubbard last year, and that sure as hell didn't work.
No, Hubbard was not. Yeah, it did not work at all for Hubbard. I thought Hubbard was going to be a nice backup for McCaffrey, and no, he certainly was not. Um, so yeah, I mean, I thought just drafting. I mean, I haven't looked at the teams, but just drafting when I was taking it very seriously. I mean, as you know, I do this for a living. I do this for. Uh, I got so many leagues, and so a lot of times I join a league just for fun or charity or whatever, and I can pretty much sleep through the draft and just pick the players I want. But this was pretty competitive. I was definitely thinking about a lot of players. It's going to be interesting being in an eight team league because all the competition is everybody is going to have a great team, or should have a great team depending because the players you're only at 8 teams, and the talent pool is so large. But that's going to make it fun, I think, too, because you have all these great players playing against all these great players. So points should be high. It should be exciting, and we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. I was, kind of looking at some of the leagues. I could never imagine myself in the 24-team league. I mean, the NFL is only 16. Why would I get in a 24-team league? But I mean,
Well, it depends.
I mean, at some point, you got a team that half of them are backups, right?
Oh yeah, I mean you have positions that you don't even fill. I was in a 32 team league last year just to do it, and I could not, I did not have the time or the energy, or it was just so. I mean, if I only had one league and it was the 32 team league, I could manage it. But when the position I'm in, did also manage a 32 team, trades after trades, because players need, owners need this and that, and it's just crazy. And I was just like, I can't do this. So I finished out the year and said, I'm done. Thank you very much for having me. I'm out. Enjoy your lives, because see ya.
So, what are some of the other platforms that you play on?
I do it all around. Like MFL, my fantasy league has 52 teams on there. Sleeper has about 5 or 6. Yahoo has 3.
I just got into Sleeper today. I'll send you an invite.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, hell yeah.
It's my first time into Sleeper to see what it's like.
It's not very friendly usable to me, but you might enjoy it. I don't know. A lot of people do.
I generally play ESPN, Yahoo, NFL, and Flea Flicker.
I don't have any this year on Flea Flicker. I did last year, but those two, no, I'm sorry, 4 leagues were moved to RTS. So I don't know if you're familiar with them.
No,
they're okay. They're sort of a up and coming platform.
I like the
Yeah,
simplicity of Flea Flicker. And the options that of course that they give you. I don't think NFL allows you to have keepers unless you're a private league. Uh,
I don't even
yeah,
know how many people do NFL.com. To be honest with you, I'm like, I think I've had like 2 or 3 teams over like the span of 10 years on NFL.com.
yeah, they only allow you to have 5 teams anyway. But you know, I do. I kind of like the format, and I like the different draft platforms. I'm kind of addicted to that. But
they're fun. They're fun. You go to a different place and you're like, oh, you got this. Oh, okay. Oh, this is cool.
yeah, yeah. So, uh, let's see. We talked about sleepers. We talked about keepers. Uh, so let's get into actual players, and I'm going to put them in 3 categories, and you tell me which category you think this particular player fits. This week we'll do quarterbacks and tight ends. Next week we'll do running backs and wide receivers. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So a sleeper, I'm going to give you definitions here. A sleeper is a player who is being overlooked and will outperform his ADP. A bust is a player who is highly regarded but will underperform his ADP. And of course, a breakout, and I'm including rookies here, will rise up with the career best numbers and have a huge impact on his team. So, start with quarterbacks. Sleeper, bust, or breakout? Kirk Cousins.
I'm going to say sleeper.
Now we talked about the health of of course, of McCaffrey.
Hmm.
What about Kurt?
Yeah, he does. He also he tested positive for the Rona. What again? And I could have strangled him for his answer because he was just like, "Oh, well, I don't care." And it's just like, "Yeah, what do you mean you don't care, dude? Do you know this?" Oh, I don't understand some people. They're like, "I don't care. You don't care that you can spread this around to other people. You could kill people. You can put people in the hospital. What do you mean you don't care? Like, shut up." Um,
Let alone
but
how much money you're making. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, for think of all the things that you've done all your life for free or for less than what he's making now. I mean, how many shots has he taken during his lifetime going to school, going to college? I mean, maybe a job. I mean, so yeah, I'm sure this is not the first time that he's had to be immunized, and I don't understand how just like a Kyrie Irving for $24 million, I can take a shot every day.
hell yeah, give it to me, man. Give it to
you know,
me.
for $24 million, I'll be a junkie for you, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, hell yeah.
And
$24 million.
and I don't, and I don't even like getting stuck. But anyway, but hey, yeah, and I'm not saying that he's making, but Kurt, Kurt, regardless of what you want to say about his play, he has been an astute businessman. Kurt has made bucks.
Oh, big time.
So
He made big time bucks when he went from Washington to Minnesota, and then they re-upped his contract. When he re-signed like 3 or 4 years ago, he made huge money then, like really huge money. I mean, people were like, "What? Kirk Cousins? You're making
yeah,
what?
yeah,
Huh?"
remember
And
he
so
was
he
like the
just bought.
Deshaun. He got like a Deshaun Watson deal
Yeah,
for his
exactly,
time.
exactly. Yes, very. Yep, yep, exactly. Where everybody's like, "What?" Um, so yeah, I mean, the
And that
guy,
was the year when I think he missed 6 games, didn't he?
I believe so. I believe so. It was it was that horrible year that he had. Stephon Diggs left the following season, and
Yeah.
yeah, it was a really, really bad season for all three of those guys. Thielen was hurt a lot that year too. Um, but outside of that, he's like a QB9, if not better, every single season. Outside of that one year, QB9, and he's always getting drafted way late. Like I don't even know if he was drafted in our league, to be honest with you. He could have been drafted, but I don't think so. So he's like he'll finish as a QB9 again this year, and every year it goes undrafted. So that's why I think he's a sleeper.
Aaron Rodgers.
Bust.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't see them. It depends. Like he's a QB10 right now, so I don't see him falling off the wagon to where he's at like a QB15. But as far as ADP goes, maybe a QB 13, 14 could be a bust for someone like Aaron Rodgers because he's always so great. But he's gonna miss. He's going to miss Devonte Adams a great deal, and they're going to run a lot more. And he doesn't run the ball at all, so you're going to miss that. I think he had like 50 yards last year or something, like 25 yards rushing. I mean, far cry from what he used to be.
Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, I think he's going to be a big sleeper. I really do. I think what I saw out of him last year, especially after Urban Meyer left, and what I've seen in him, he's just such a natural quarterback. Can just natural release, reads the defense as well. Can move around the pocket. I think he's going. It's just they got Christian Kirk now. The offense is better. Yeah, he's going like RB. I mean, not RB, but QB, like 18 to 20. I could see him finishing in the top 12 this year.
Trey Lance.
I think where he is, so not a sleeper, not a bust. What was the other one? What was the other category? I forgot.
Breakout.
Breakout. I could see him as a breakout. Yeah, I can. I really can. Especially if things go right for him and he showcases the skills that he does have. Plus, this guy can run like crazy, like the wind. He could be a Lamar Jackson kind of 2019 season. They got the weapons around him: Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. They got players now that can catch the ball out of the backfield. James Hasty, and then I think Tyrion Davis Price can catch a little bit. So it's all there for him. If he can take advantage of it, then oh yeah,
Hey
breakout for
man,
sure.
I'm going to go off subject here for a minute.
Sure.
Did you see uh, To the race
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
4.38? Are you
Uh,
serious?
I could not. I had to look at that number like 3 or 4 times. I'm like, are you? Is it really 4.3? No, you got to be like 4.68, right? Because there's no way he's running a 4.38. Like hell no, no way. It's like oh my god. And then one of my buddies who played NFL, JJ Burden, he got online and he started talking about it, and he was like, and he was a track star. Speaking of Oregon, he was a track star at Oregon, and he's just like, this thing is so difficult to do at his age that
I'm telling
it's like, and he was a track star, so it was just like, oh my god, like it even emphasized it even more that I was shocked. So amazing athlete.
I, I was just like, my God, 4.38.
Four three eight.
There's kids in the combine that would kill me.
Oh, absolutely love that 4.38. Oh hell yeah! In a minute they'd take that. God,
Oh, oh, man, yeah. I mean, hey, whatever you say about To, the one thing he does keep his body in shape. Regardless, and hey, what about Kaepernick to To? What do you think? Let's bring them both back.
let's bring him back and just do it. Run it back one more time.
Oh, getting back on track here. Kyler Murray.
Kyler Murray, I'm worried a little bit about him, especially with that DeAndre Hopkins for 6 games. I'm going to say bust.
Now, what do you think about that? Is it 6 or 8?
6 games.
Okay, so you have Hollywood Brown for the six games that you don't have him, and then you have both of them for the rest of the year. What do
Right.
you think about that?
I think it's going to be great for DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray because once DeAndre Hopkins comes back, he's going to be fresh. He's going to be fresh legs. He's going to, he comes up with these little nagging injuries here and there. So maybe this time off will help him prevent those kind of things, and they'll be a lot better off. They're going to. I think they'll go for a run with when he comes back, probably around week 8. You're going to see Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins just really explode that field.
Yeah, it should be interesting next week because we'll be talking about wide receivers, so we'll see where they come in at. Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is another sleeper. Another guy who doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. The last 2 years, he's been a QB 14 and a 13. Now he has Devontae Adams, so it's very possible he's going to be a QB 10. Doesn't run. That's going to always hurt him. But I could see him hitting a QB 10, QB 9. I mean, if Kirk Cousins can be a QB 9 and Matthew Stafford can be a QB 5 last year, and those kind of things, Derek Carr has that potential, especially now with the weapons, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, and now Devontae Adams. He could be in that kind of range.
Justin Fields.
It's either going to be sleeper or bust for this guy. Breakout. I'm sorry, a breakout or bust for this guy. I wish he had more weapons. All they have is Darnell Mooney. I don't know. I'm going to go with a bust, unfortunately. Even though he can run, I just don't think there's much help for him. The Cole Kmet is average. As I mentioned, Darnell Mooney is a good wide receiver 2. He's not a star wide receiver by any means, and they don't have a wide receiver 1 on this team. I think it's going to be a bust for him.
Joe Burrow.
I think he'll fall a little bit. So if it depends on where people have him. If they have him around QB 10, they'll be okay. If they have him QB 5, then he'll be a bust.
Okay. Tom Brady.
Tom Brady is another one. Traditionally, he's around QB 9 or 8. I think he falls to a QB out of QB 12 range, to like 13 or 14, without Godwin, without Rob Gronkowski, with the offensive line that is just, everybody's just like, oh, I just want to be on the injured list. So, well, there goes my ACL. There's that healthy offensive line is gone. I think they still have Tristan Wirfs, which is a good thing, but for the most part, that line is banged up, and he can't move. We know that. So, I could see him outside the QB 12 mark this year.
So, sleeper or bust?
That would be definitely bust for Tom Brady.
Matt Ryan.
I'll say sleeper, just because it depends on how much the Colts actually use Matt Ryan. Carson Wentz was a QB 14 last year. Carson Wentz. And we all know Matt Ryan could be better than a QB 14. And right now he's going, I think, like a QB 20 or 21, which doesn't make any sense to me, considering, as I just mentioned, Carson Wentz is a 14 last year. So Matt Ryan should be in the top 10. And if he goes from 20 to 10, then it's definitely not a breakout, but bust. No. What's the other one? Breakout, bust?
Sleeper.
Sleeper. Yeah, sleeper. That's what I want to go with. Sleeper.
Now, when you talk about Matt Ryan and you talk about the Colts and you talk about his receivers, what do you think is going to be? Well, we have Pittman scheduled as his number 1 wide receiver, but has there anyone else that stepped up in the Colts camp?
Alex Pierce looks pretty good, but he is a rookie. Paris Campbell looks pretty good, but the guy never can stay healthy. Those are the 2 wide receivers that we'll see who actually ends up starting week 1. It's going to either be Campbell or it's going to be Pierce. They might go with the rookie there. But yeah, no one's going to take Pittman as overall as a wide receiver 1.
Now, you talked about how late Kirk Cousins was going in a lot of drafts. I seen Matt Ryan go real late, if not at all, in a lot of drafts also.
Yep.
Why don't you think fantasy owners have faith in Matt Ryan?
I think it's a couple of things. I think one, he's someone that the Falcons sort of let go. Number 2, Jonathan Taylor is probably like 70% of that offense. Also, they don't throw quite a bit, and Matt Ryan is not going to run. So you're not establishing a floor like Lamar Jackson. You don't need Lamar Jackson to throw 3 touchdowns, just because you run so much. So as long as Lamar Jackson runs 60 yards, which he probably will, you don't need that other touchdown. Well, with Matt Ryan, you need that touchdown because he's not going to be running those 60 yards. So I think it's just a combination of a lot of things of those nature, where statue quarterback, not a team that throws the ball quite a bit, a team that likes to use the clock. So that always affects the quarterback when you're not rushing and hurrying up, and you're a fast team. They're a very slow, kind of methodical team.
All right, let's hit the tight ends. Irv Smith Jr.
He could be a breakout just because he's supposed to be talented, but hasn't shown it. I mean, he was out all year, so good luck trying to show something when you're out all season. But this will be his third year, fourth year, something to that effect, and he hasn't shown. He's like almost like Evan Ingram. You could see all that athletic ability in him, but it hasn't really been demonstrated on a field yet. And we'll see. He could definitely be a sleeper for sure, or unfortunately, he could be a bust. I'm going to go sleeper this year.
Well, since you mentioned him, Evan Ingram.
I don't see Evan Ingram. I mean, the Jaguars could be a good place for him, but the guy just hasn't shown it at all. So I'm going to go bust.
Pat Freiermuth.
Another bust. He was really good when Juju Smith-Schuster went down for the year, but if Smith-Schuster didn't go down for the year, Pat Freiermuth would have been almost non-relevant. And now you add a George Pickens and Najee Harris was there. So all the players that are returning, Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, Claypool. Claypool, yeah, you got all these guys returning. I just don't. It's not so much his talent; it's just how many mouths you have to feed, and then you have who at quarterback, right? I mean, Kenny Pickett could be a good player, but we don't really know that, and he's going to have his struggles as a rookie. We know who Mitchell Trubisky is. That's not a fun thing. Yeah, I just think bust.
Cole Kmet.
He could be a sleeper. He really could. As I mentioned with the Bears, you only got Darnell Mooney to throw to. So Cole Kmet could be one of those guys that could reap the benefits. I mean, he was someone that they were looking at. Justin Fields was targeting quite a bit as a tight end in between the 20s, but Jimmy Graham stole all the touchdowns. Well, Jimmy Graham's not there anymore. So maybe it will be Cole Kmet catching the touchdowns. Maybe he'll pull in 4 or 5 touchdowns and catch, 50 or 60 passes and be that tight end 13, 12 or whatever it is. He has that potentiality. So I'm going to go sleeper.
Logan Thomas.
It depends on how well he stays healthy. He just last year didn't do it, and he's always been sort of a risky health. I'm going to go bust. I think he's like 32 now, something to that effect. Yeah, I'm going to go bust.
Darren Waller.
Another bust. There's, as I was talking about with the Steelers, the Raiders sort of had the same problem. Hunter Renfrow and, of course, Davante Adams. Believe me, Davante Adams is going to be showcasing this offense like no other. I mean, Carr and Adams back together again since Fresno State. Carr's going to look for him regardless if he's the second option on the play. He's going to look at Adams as the first option. It's just going to be one of those things. Next year might be a little different, but this year it's going to be all Davante Adams and maybe a little Hunter Renfrow and just a tiny bit of Darren Waller.
Yeah, and unlike Tua, we do know that Carr can get the ball out there. So
yep,
yeah, that's we don't have to worry about that. Let's see, Dawson Knox.
I want to see Dawson Knox repeat what he did last season. I just don't think he will. I think Gabriel Davis's season, his time is now, and that's going to push Dawson Knox even further down. The opportunity, that volume is going to go down to where he was before, and without catching the ball a lot, and Diggs being sort of the touchdown maker, and Jamison Crowder is there now. I'm going to say bust.
Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry is a sleeper for me because he's a type of guy that no one looks at to draft until way late, and he's always inside the top 10. So he's always a sleeper for me. There's someone I always look to get just because I can wait till the last pick of the draft Hunter Henry, and he's going to be a tight end 9 or 10 by the end of the year.
Yeah, I found the same with Higbee.
Yeah, Higbee's another good option. Everett is another good option, especially this year.
Let's go with who did I just say?
Higbee.
Higbee.
I like Higbee. He had a good season a couple of years ago in 2019. we'll see. I don't know what they're going to do with Odell Beckham. He kind of disappeared with Odell Beckham there. Let's just say it's situation remains the same. I would say he's a sleeper that you could get again as we're talking about late draft, and him could perform in the top 12 of offenses, tight ends. Yeah.
Do you think the addition of, well, we'll talk about wide receivers next week. I won't go there. Hayden Hurst,
Hayden Hurst moved over to where's he now? I
the
forget.
Bengals.
The Bengals. They don't use the tight end very often. So I'm gonna say he's gonna be a bust.
Noah Fant.
Another bust. I don't see Geno Smith looking for him. It depends. Now, if Drew Lock is a quarterback and they have that familiarity in Denver, that could be a little bit different. But Noah Fant hasn't done anything since coming into the league, and another waste of talent thus far.
Robert Tunyon. Of course, before he got hurt, he had a little rapport with Rodgers there, and then, of course, like I said, he got hurt. But what do you think, Tunyon?
I like Tunyon this year better than I did last year, and that's because Tunyon is really a friendly face to Aaron Rodgers. He lost so many players, and so many players are new. They got Amari Rodgers back, Randall Cobb. He knows Randall Cobb well, but Randall Cobb is already so. So Robert Tunyon is someone he could trust, not only between the 20s, but especially the goal line area. I think he has somewhat of a bounce back this year. It's not going to be what he was in 2019, but it's not going to be as bad as it was. Well, I mean, he got injured, but he wasn't doing well anyways until he got up until his injury. So he'll do better, in those whatever he had, like 7 games or whatever. He'll have more points and those kind of things. So he'll have a better season than he did, of course, last year.
Gesicki.
I'm a little worried about Mike Gesicki just because they talked about trading him. Then they said, "Oh no, those were rumors. We weren't going to offer to trade him." He doesn't block, but man, he has a catch radius like no other. I mean, if you take the receiving skills of Travis Kelce, you can make some comparisons to Mike Gesicki. It's just Travis Kelce is just a lot more of a well-rounded player. Mike Gesicki couldn't block to save his life. So he's not on the field. Durham Smythe comes in during blocking drills. So he's always going to be up and down. He'll finish in QB tight end 14 or something like that. So I'm going to say bust.
Goodard.
Oh, man. Such a good call. What are they going to do? It depends on where you draft him. If you draft him tight end in the first 7 tight ends, I'm going to say he's a bust. If you draft him outside the 7 tight ends, I'm going to say he's a sleeper.
I think I had him as my tight end 2.
Your backup tight end?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. Yeah, backup.
And, of course, Travis Kelce.
I think we'll see some slippage with Travis Kelce, but the guy's still he's superhuman. He's going to put up everything. So it's not. I would say he's not a sleeper. He's not. I don't know how you would categorize because he's not a sleeper. He's not going to be a bust, and he's not going to be a breakout. He's just badass. How about
that? We'll make up a new term. Let's see. It'll be sleeper, bust, breakout, and badass.
Badass. That
works. And Ali Cox.
Oh, bust. They got Jelani Woods there. They drafted another tight end in the 6th round. They don't normally really go to the tight ends all that much. They still have Kylan Granson, who was a rookie last year. Mo Alley Cox doesn't perform between the 20s. He's more just a guy because he has a basketball background, knows how to block out players and get up and go get it, and has a tremendous wingspan. So they have plenty of those players. Yeah, total bust, unfortunately.
Kettle.
Ooh. I'm going to go with bust. I don't know what happened to him at the end of the last year. Like last 4 or 5 games, he just disappeared. He's getting older. He has mounting injuries. He's on the field all the time because he can block so wonderfully. I just don't know if he's in the top 3 of tight ends anymore. If you get him at tight end 6, then okay. Tight end 5, okay. But anything 1 through 3, then a bust.
Let's see. I can't find his name right now, but I'll be there in 1 second. Hold on.
Sure.
Joku.
Yeah. With Jacoby Brissett, he really loves to throw to tight ends. He loves that short game, dump offs. But Njoku has just been someone that's just Ingram, blessed with an amazing talent, amazing speed. Just nothing out of this guy. We'll see what Jacoby Brissett can do, but he could be a sleeper. So I'm not going to say he's a bust. I'm going to go with a sleeper.
You gonna go with a sleeper on him?
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay. Tyler Conklin.
The Jets haven't had a top 12 tight end since 2009. I mean, it's really been forever. And I don't see why Tyler Conklin is going to change that. So, yeah, stay away from him. Absolute bust.
Bellinger.
Oh, he's the Giants guy. Rookie tight ends, man, they don't unless you're Kyle Pitts or you're just in a fortunate situation like Pat Fryermuth where you just catch touchdowns. Yeah, I'm going to stay away from Bellinger this year. So bust.
And you just mentioned him. I forgot his. Who'd you just say?
Talking about Bellinger. Pitts. Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts.
Bust. A lot of people have him as a tight end 5. I have him as a tight end 8. I don't. It's not his talent. Nowhere. If no one should be talking about the talent of Kyle Pitts being bad because the guy is an amazing athlete. Runs crisp patterns, runs patterns like a wide receiver, catches like a wide receiver, has a speed of a little faster tight end, but he can get downfield. He can do just all the things that you would want out of your wide receiver position, pretty much in a tight end body. And but it's the fact that Atlanta's offense is shit. It's just so there's nobody there really to be excited about. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to box and bracket Kyle Pitts, and I just don't see him doing much.
Hawkinson.
Yeah, Hawkinson I think it's a bust too, just because there's 3 guys that are going to take up that short to intermediate space. You have DeAndre Swift, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you have, of course, the guy himself, TJ Hawkinson. And I think it's just going to be a merry-go-round. Whoever gets it that day is going to be the star of that day. Whoever doesn't is going to be the dog of that day. And there's just so much inconsistency in that kind of thing. Or it's going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown and maybe DeAndre Swift. TJ Hawkinson is just not going to be part of this offense very much at all unless Amon-Ra St. Brown goes down, and you just count on a guy to be hurt, especially someone who has been hurt.
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah, I think he's badass because he's not so much. Well, I guess he could be a sleeper after last year. So to me, he's a sleeper. He's going to finish in the top 5. Michael Gallup is injured. We don't know how long he's going to be out. They need a second receiver to sort of target it, and they targeted him last year after week like 9 or 10, like all the time. So Dalton Schultz is going to definitely be a sleeper.
Adam Troutman.
Troutman to me is a bust. I would have a lot more faith in him if they didn't bring in Jarvis Landry, if they didn't draft who did they draft? Chris Olave. If they didn't have, I don't know if I mentioned Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, you mentioned Georgia.
And then Michael Thomas, and then Alvin Kamara, and the list just goes on and on and on. I think they drafted a short to intermediate guy to go with Jarvis Landry, but I'm not sure. I can't remember. But you have all these sort of weapons around him, and he's going to be like fifth banana on this team.
All right, Mike. Well, hey, man, great initial show there. Give us your final thoughts and any fantasy advice that you have for guys. These next couple of weeks are going to be, guys are going to be in all kinds of leagues trying to get their football, fantasy football fix on. So give us some tips and your final thoughts.
Well, it's always great to do the show with you, James. I really do appreciate it, sir. I mean, I think about our first show quite a bit and how long now it's been. It's been over a year that I've been part of your show. So thank you very much. I really enjoy being with you and the guys, of course, and Demetrius. My thoughts are with you. As far as
I'd like
goes,
I'd like to make this show with you and Demetrius since you guys got that Michigan State.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love that.
So
that would be great. That would be great.
So we'll see what happens when he comes back.
And then when he comes back, I'll try to be flexible. Just that first 4 days of the week are just, for fantasy football, go out and get who the player you want. Don't be worried about those that you think, oh, this guy could be around in the third round. Because you know what? He might not be around that following round that you think he might be. If you want him, go get him. And then always have a backup plan. In fact, have two. Because there's too many people who draft with just one person in mind. And when you get to that point and if someone just snipes you and you're up next, you're going to be worried about who you should pick. And that's the last frame mind that you want to have. So always have 2 or 3 players in mind that you're going to track with. And then I would say number 3, I don't hope not giving all the secrets away, but number 3, buy a case of beer, pass it out to everybody. And if they're still not drunk yet, buy another case of beer and pass it out to everybody. Get them all drunk.
I hear you. Make sure that they're in a decision-making frame of mind, right?
Yeah.
I always do my best work when I'm drunk. I mean, look at how I drove home and parked up on the sidewalk. I mean,
hey, at least I got on the grass, right?
Yeah,
I made it to the grass.
Hey man, great fun, man. Passing these 90 minutes with you. Looking forward to it next week. And like I said, hopefully when Demetrius gets back, we can do a little rivalry here, Michigan versus Michigan State every week. And I'm sure he'd rather be with you than Mr. Scott. Mr. Scott gives in the Blues with the Twins and the Vikings. So
the Vikings, yes, that's
true. All right, man. Well, hey, you have a good weekend, and I'll see you next Friday at least, if not Thursday. You let me know.
Yes, sir. Will do. Take care.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to our first and the winners are. And we look to do this every Friday with Mike. And hey, enjoy yourself. Participate in as many leagues as you want or you can. And we're all looking forward to the fantasy football season. Have a great night, everyone. See you next week.